yields. The chair recognizes the gentleman from Georgia, Mr. Allen, for his 5 minutes of questioning.
Thank you, Chairman Joyce, for holding this important hearing today, and to our expert witnesses, I want to thank you for joining us. Sorry for the long break there, but we had to conduct some business on the House floor. Dr. Way, your work identifies serious risks like emotional dependence, reality distortion, and even AI psychosis. What, if anything, should Congress require from companies developing general-purpose chatbots that to ensure these systems do not exacerbate the already out-of-control mental health conditions and unintentionality encourage delusional thinking?
Thank you for the question. I think having more information is key here. So being able to require transparency from companies regarding what are the rates of crises, what kind of crises protocols are in place, how are they handling them, how much are people actually having reality testing issues when using it. We don't have access to this information, so first step would be that.
Dr. Torres, we've seen cases of teens who spend hours a day on AI chatbots. While some of these conversations are mundane, there are other examples that engage in topics related to self-harm and sexualized material. A growing number of teens becoming emotionally dependent on these. From a clinical standpoint, are there design practices or guardrails that platforms should consider, especially for entertainment or companion, to prevent minors from forming unsafe or addictive relationships from these systems?
Yeah, so we're still learning about these parasocial relationships where people make, again, these relationships with these bots. These are not objects, these are not people. And in some ways, I think a useful analogy I can tell patients is, think of, again, using an AI like a self-help book. We can all go to the bookstore, we can buy a self-help book, we can learn a lot from that self-help book. That's a really wonderful thing. I think where it crosses the line when the self-help book stops giving basic self-help, starts getting too personal, starts talking about deeper issues. So I think it's possible for the bots to operate as self-help books by having very clear guardrails of where they stop and where they hand you off to a person. And again, to the credit of some of these companies, they're beginning to recognize the need to do this and to implement it. We haven't seen what the effect is, but again, we know that self-help is a wonderful thing. We don't want to stop it, and these bots can do it to some extent.
Dr. King, Chatbot users routinely share highly personal medical, financial, and confidential data. What types of data handling disclosures, limits, or prohibitions should Congress consider to prevent misuse of this sensitive information, especially when minors or vulnerable adults are involved?
So, we have law in California that puts limits, or at least puts notice on the collection of sensitive personal information, things like location data as well. I mean, I think those should be models for anything that Congress considers. A general approach to data minimization, that companies should try to narrow the scope of the data to collect for things that are actually needed for the purpose that they are processing. That obviously is a very, I think, going to be a very interesting issue in the chatbot space, and just with AI in general, because of AI's intense demands for data and the desire for companies to reuse that data over and over again beyond the narrow context in which they collect it. So there are some real challenges here, I think, as we try to consider what are good limits to put at a federal level. With children, again, understanding if there is a child on the other end of that conversation, I think, is a really important thing. I am a parent of 2 kids, so I am, a personal stakeholder in this discussion there.
Right. Well, I have 14 grandchildren, and my children and their parents are doing everything they can to keep them away from social media. I know growing up, my parents taught me values. There were certain things not allowed in our home. And these values, one of them was to guard your heart and your mind. This is the greatest computer ever created, and you put garbage in here and you're capable of anything. We see it every day in this country. I texted this, and, the Bible says to guard your heart and mind because they are the source of life and actions. And I'm out of time, but if you could respond to me, does faith play any part in this, in the way children are raised today, in the values that our society, the truth, does that matter?
Was that to me? I apologize.
Well, I'm out of time, I have to yield back, but could you respond in writing on that? And if you want to share it with another panel member, that'll be fine. I yield back, sir.
Gentleman yields.